Hi! Oh wait, I'm so focused. Hi, I'm Matt Marks.
Hi, Matt Marks.
How's it going?
Who are you, Matt Marks?
I'm a composer, and I'm one of the many composers being commissioned by the Cadillac Moon Ensemble for this 2013-14 season.
I'm Megan Burke. I'm the cellist from Cadillac Moon Ensemble. Matt and I are going to be talking about his piece for Cadillac Moon's Den of Death concert on December 20th at the Cell Theater.
Den of Death? Sounds intriguing.
Matt, could you tell us a little bit about the piece you're writing?
Yeah, so it's funny when you guys came to me, you came to me with the concept Den of Death, and you're like, and Matt, I think you'd be perfect for this. And I was like, really? And then I realized that almost every piece I write has to do with death in some way. Usually death and or sex, but funny enough, this one does not have anything to do with sex. It's actually a very serious and very tragic concept behind the piece, but it's done in a kind of creepily lighthearted way. The working title for the piece is KAMIKAZE Karaoke, and essentially, boiled down, the concept is it's I set text by journal entries of kamikaze pilots who fought for the Japanese, of course, in World War II, and ended their lives as kamikaze pilots. And I set those texts into a series of songs that I wrote for Cadillac Moon Ensemble, and the style genre that I'm writing for is very much inspired by Japanese pop. So in a way, it's they're essentially a series of Japanese pop songs, but with the text by journal entries of kamikaze pilots.
Cool. Could you tell us a little bit about what those texts are like? What was it about the texts that really spoke to you?
Well, one of the very interesting things about the texts is that, we're raised in the U.S. to believe that kamikaze pilots were essentially almost like cult member figures, where they were doing it all for the glory of the empire and the emperor, and just, crashed their planes into an aircraft carrier, in almost like a religious frenzy. But upon reading some of these journal entries, I found that in a lot of cases they were very conflicted, very sad, very frightened, very depressed, and in some cases, very committed to the empire, or in a lot of cases, questioning what that devotion meant. I mean, they're very introspective. And I mean, I shouldn't be surprised that they were so introspective because they're human beings, but I was fascinated because it's a side of history that we just don't see in the U.S. To an extent, I like deconstructing that mythology and showing these people as very real, very scared, very courageous in a lot of ways, soldiers. But I also, there's a kind of demented twist I put on it, in that a lot of the songs, since I'm working in the genre of Japanese pop, are highly influenced by that. The songs are very upbeat and very happy and very, with a sense of inspiration and hope. And I think that creates a very interesting and sometimes creepy and unsettling tension when you have these these journal entries of kamikaze pilots essentially expressing their fears, but in the spirit of Japanese pop, which is often very high energy and fun. So it's, in that respect, I mean, I could see how some people might think that it's somewhat disrespectful to them, but in general, I'm not trying to, it's not a joke necessarily, it's just using the dominant musical form in Japan right now to express a lot of these deep emotions. And it's intense, it's a really difficult idea to come across, and so I'm really trying to make it work and not come off as like a big joke. But there's humor involved. But humor, involving humor or irony doesn't mean that you're not taking something seriously.
Right.
I was very much inspired by this Japanese technology, or this Japanese program called Vocaloid. And it's essentially, in Japan right now, there's a series of virtual pop stars, the most popular being a pop star named Hatsune Miku. And she's a virtual pop star, she's a cartoon, a literal, computer-generated cartoon, but her voice is also computer-generated, and essentially it's a synth voice. And people people go to see her live in concert, where they're staring at a hologram and hearing, you know, essentially a fake voice. And people buy her albums. And one of the craziest things is that you can actually buy her. It's really messed up, but you can buy her voice and compose for her, and she will sing your songs. And so I really wanted that to be part of the concept, and that's kind of the karaoke concept. It's kind of turning karaoke on its head away, in that instead of there being music and then a voice that you're adding, a live voice, this is essentially, instead of there being, you know, pre-recorded or electronic music and then a live singing voice, there's kind of a pre-recorded electronic voice but with a live band. And so that's where the karaoke aspect of Kamikaze Karaoke comes from. So this is Miku. You can essentially see all the different controls here. There's gender factor, basically all sorts of things. Clearness of her voice. That makes her a little brighter. Actually, the gender thing's kind of funny. This is her more male, I think. No, that's more female, obviously. Here's more male. So I kind of keep her right in the middle somewhere. I kind of like the androgyny of it. We have a message to you from Hatsune Miku. What do you have to say about Cadillac Moon Ensemble, Hatsune Miku?
I love Cadillac Moon Ensemble.
Aww.
Wow, thank you.
Thanks, Miku.
All right, come to our concert. Thanks, Miku and Matt, for visiting. Bye.